Hello, I'm Eero, and this is my famous passport. Yes, I had to come here last year, but you know, we in Estonia have this kind of plastic ID card, and I travel with it, I pay my taxes with it, I can do bank transfers with it, and I can even check my children's school homework with it. So yes, it came as a total surprise when I was already in Munich at the airport, and it turned out that in order to come to Ukraine, I need 32 pages of waste paper. So I didn't come, sorry. I work at Theatre NO99, which is a state-owned theatre and is located, by the way, in the same house as Estonian Ministry of Defense. Well, we have been in business since 2004, and we are a normal little theatre. We do devised projects, but also Shakespeare, Olby, Chari, and so on. And when Vladislav from TEDxKyiv told me to speak here, he told me it would be great if you could come up with some ideas which could save Ukraine. Well, the bad news is I don't have such ideas. Not even a single one. But the good news is that this didn't stop us 6 years ago when we founded a fictional political party and for a very short period gained all the symbolic power there is in Estonia. Yes, we wanted to do something big and, first of all, something real. And so we did this. Yes. Well, we created a fictional political party, and its name was Unified Estonia. And now if this name does ring a bell for somebody because it sounds like Unified Russia, then let this bell ring, because that's exactly the parallel we wanted to create. We wanted to build up the most nastiest, most populist, and most fascist party ever. And we succeeded. There were only two problems. There were only two problems. Yes, public started to love us. And secondly, they really thought that we are the real thing. I mean, journalists, politicians, voters, everybody believed that we are really into something real. And so we were invited to different talk shows, TV shows. We made also headlines in dailies and weeklies. And of course, we did everything we could so that people would believe more and more that we are the real thing. And we even had posters on the streets. Well, actually, not on the streets, but on a street in singular form, because we didn't have money to print more posters. But it was enough, because those images circulated in Estonian media for weeks. And so on and so on. So in the polls, 25% of the voters said that, yes, I would vote for them. And I even remember when my neighbor, an older guy around 80, came to me and said, come on, guys, you have to take power. You have to turn this state into a new state. So there we were, 10 actors with almost no money, and we were expected to save Estonia like TEDxKyiv is expecting me to save Ukraine. Now, yes, laughing. Now one might ask, what was our program? And what were our ideas? And what did we promise? Well, the answer is we had no program, we had no ideas, and we promised everything. So we actually had nothing in our hands, yet we enjoyed massive public support. And why? We did a very simple thing. We said that we are against established parties and that we are a new force. And that was all that was needed, to be against present day and to present yourself as the future, because people like future. So when we announced that we are going to have a party convention for 12,000 people, the tickets were sold out in 48 hours. So actually taking power isn't such a hard thing. When we were able to do that, so then you can do. And to give you a quick primer, so you could take notes on how to take power, I would like to emphasize 3 things that were crucial in our success. First, you have to be pretty. And I'm not kidding, because we had big posters with the faces of our actors, and they really look pretty. That's why I couldn't show my picture. Yes, pretty people. Because when you present yourself as being some kind of a new force, then you also have to look new and fresh. You know, we didn't have any texts printed. No, we didn't publish any essays, any articles, no commentaries. We just operated with images and photos. And that was all that was needed. Secondly, emotions. I read a couple of months ago an interview with ex-chancellor of Vladimir Putin. And he told that the main thing in controlling the masses are emotions. And that's why also Crimea, and that's why Olympic Games in Sochi, they were not needed for economical benefits or stuff like that. Their value was purely symbolic and emotional. And the same goes also for democracies. Emotions, emotions, emotions. And of course, at some point, people get tired of emotions. They want to return to their old, normal, boring lives. And the solution is you just have to offer them new emotions. And that's what we did. We were very emotional. And the third thing, of course, the media. It's a very well-known fact that media plays the key role in designing public opinion. So therefore, it's also a very simple truth that you have to have friends in the media. Now, please note, because people mix up that all the time, your friends working in media don't have to write about you. They even don't have to support you. They just have to be your friends. So this is the biggest news portal in Estonia. Every day, hundreds of thousands of people visit that site. And let me remind you that Estonia only has a little bit more than 1 million inhabitants, so this is really the gate. In one night, we defaced our posters. Yes, we did it ourselves. Our guys threw some paint on them, and so the posters looked like this. And the news that our posters were defaced was the top news item on that news portal for 8 hours, from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. And why? Because of this guy. He is the friend of our director, and he is working in this news portal. Now, he didn't support our ideas, because, like I said, we didn't have any ideas. He was just backing us up. And I believe that this is what being a good friend actually means. So in the end of the project, we were in the convention hall together with 12,000 people. And they were all expecting us to continue to building up the party, to run in the elections and so on. They really supported us. The only problem was that we didn't want to continue. We wanted to return to the theater to play in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf again. We didn't want to go on saving our country. We wanted to lean back and talk about, I don't know, Stanislavski and improvisation. So if you have the situation where you have 12,000 people expecting you to say one thing and 12 people who want to say the exact opposite, what do? Well, you just say it. Was it hard? No, actually it wasn't hard. The people applauded for the usual 1 minute, 30 seconds anyway. But the hard part was giving up power, losing power, even if we didn't have any real power anyway, and even if this losing was voluntary, it was quite hard. I remember that weeks after the convention, every morning I opened the newspaper and I was looking for our names. Well, actually, for my name, actually. But I couldn't find it. We were not mentioned anymore in the newspapers, and we were history. So I was quite sad. And maybe this is also one of the reasons why I came here. So I could end up here and say, yes, it was a nice project. Why did we do it? Because we were dissatisfied with how democracy was being manipulated in Estonia. Or like Vladislav from TEDxKyiv told me, please come here and tell us that it's the same shit everywhere, not only here in Ukraine. What did we want to achieve? Well, we wanted to educate people, to reflect the society, and so on. Did we succeed? We will never know. And why theater? Well, I believe theater is the best tool when somebody is interested in topics like how do I manipulate with masses today. So yes, it was a cool project, and I'm proud that I was part of it. But you know, Tricky has a song with title Hell is Around the Corner. Our project was 6 years ago, and 2 years ago in Estonia we had parliamentary elections. And there were 2 new parties which did pretty much the same thing what we did. All what they were saying about themselves was that they are against established parties and that they are a new force. And they got 17% of the votes. Plus, they are not nice. One of them is very right-wing, almost neo-fascist party, and the other party is, for hippies and hipsters, and so they even themselves have no idea what kind of ideas they should have. So, opportunists. And then, well, I started to think, because I had the feeling that they are in the parliament now, at least partly thanks to us. We, in our theater, we believe that we are a good force. We support gay rights, we welcome refugees, we donate for whales and dolphins, and so on. But in order to get the power, we used populism. And what it showed us, or what it at least showed to me, was that it's still me. Although I used a very nasty tool, populism, it didn't felt any strange or alien to me. It was kind of organic part of me. So, yes, populism is part of me, and lying wasn't hard. In fact, I have been lying to you today as well. This guy, he's not a friend of our director. This is just a random photo I downloaded from the web a week ago. I googled trustworthy face and found this image. Also, we didn't have 12,000 people in our convention hall, only 10,000, or 7,500 to be exact. Well, sorry about that, but it was necessary in order to show you that populism is not a tool that only bad people use. No, we all use this tool. And therefore, the conclusion is that in democracy there are no dark and bright forces. There are no conflicts anymore. There are no conservatives or liberals, because everybody can be both. Those who stand for economic freedom can easily be against gay rights, and those who are saying that they stop corruption can stop important reforms if they are involved with too many lobbyists. So yes, democracy doesn't have a dark force and bright force. There is no light towards which we should go. I would say that democracy is not like Star Wars movie where space knights fight against Darth Vader. Democracy is more like porn movie where everybody is involved all the time. So the real question, I believe, also here today in Ukraine is not how to go to the point, or how to get to the point where the good people have the power. It's not the question how to concentrate the power into the hands of the few good people. Rather, vice versa, how to distribute power, how to disperse power. I don't want to sound like Patti Smith now, but the question really is how to get that where the people have the power. Because it is in the very nature of power that it converges. And people like that. I like that. Because it gives me the freedom not to participate and not to take responsibility. But I believe that the real task today is not to educate the voter so that he or she makes the so-called right decision in the elections. No. Our task is to get to the point where he or she himself or herself sees that he or she is the politician, that he or she makes politics. There is this fundamental expectation in all modern Western societies that the world changes in one day. That's why people also so passionately wait for the New Year's Eve, because they believe that on that day everything will change. And so they make promises. They promise to stop smoking, to start to love their wives again, to be better prime ministers, and so on. And this is also a fundamental expectation in democracies, waiting for something which could instantly, in just a sec, change everything. New parties, new politics, new faces. But I would say that we have to turn this expectation upside down. It's not about New Year's Eve in democracies. It's very easy to be a star on New Year's Eve. All you have to do is to look nice, to sing nice, and promise lots of gifts. But it's actually about January 1st. The moment when you stand all alone in an empty ballroom, it's 4 a.m., deflated balloons and empty champagne glasses around you. This is actually the defining moment of democracy. There is also this fundamental paradox in Western democracies that all decisions, especially during the so-called revolutions, are made very emotionally and very theatrically. And I believe this is a good thing because emotions unite people. But at the same time, the same emotions also disappoint people when the heyday is over. It's like in the nature, all species feel sad when coitus is over. So I believe, yes, that I don't have a solution, and Unified Estonia also didn't have a solution. But as we were also very emotional and very theatrical, I guess it showed that this really doesn't work in real life. Well, it works for a short period, but in a longer run, we really must distribute power. We must, or people must stop projecting all their expectation on ministers and presidents and politicians. Democracy is not that decisions are made by a few good people who make the right decisions. Democracy is about all of us making lots of decisions every day. And some of those decisions are good, some of them are bad. But really, the world doesn't change in one day, but it changes every day. Now, how to get to that point? I don't know. But remember, I told you about my neighbor, this older guy around 80. I wasn't lying about him. Well, I thought, what would make him to take the responsibility? And the answer is unfortunately banal. It needs courage. To be a citizen, it needs bravery. But how to be brave in democracy? It's quite easy to be brave in a dictatorship. I remember when my father, during Soviet times, when he hit his finger with a hammer, he always yelled, "God damn Soviet power." So I thought he was a brave man, and he was. Also, he was, I must say, quite clumsy with a hammer, so I heard a lot of this yelling. But what do you yell when you have democracy and you hit your finger with a hammer? In democracy, where everything seems to be okay, seems to be settled, seems to be almost perfect, I really don't know, but I'm sure it can be done. And as a first step, I would recommend always carry a passport with you, because it reminds you that you are not only a human being, but you are also a citizen. Thank you.